Viltrox 20mm f4.5 full frame E-mount lens. Keep in mind that Viltrox did send me this lens based on my collaboration terms. Some of the specifications of the lens: focal length of 28mm, the field of view is 73.42 degrees, 6 total lens elements, 2 ED low dispersion and 2 aspherical, 0.32 meters to infinity focal range, 0.11x magnification. Has a VCM type focus motor, approximately 60 grams in weight, 60.3 by 15.3 millimeters in size. Does have a USB-C port for potential firmware updates in the future. Build quality is a mix of plastic on the front and metal on the back. The plastics themselves feel decent. No issues with build quality in my opinion. It's extremely compact. On some of Sony's cameras, I think this could be pocketable. It does cover a full frame image sensor. I think that's one of the best aspects of this lens, but still having autofocus, still having a relatively decent size aperture. It is a fixed aperture, so you will not be able to change the aperture at all. That fixed aperture makes it a walk around casual type lens. Small size contributes to that. This lens feels like a good example of utilizing the short registration distance of a mirrorless camera system. I did take this lens out on a photo walk with the A7S as well as the A6000. One is full frame, one is APS-C. These are older Sony cameras, so keep that in mind with the autofocus performance. It's not ideal on these two specific cameras. I don't know how it will be on a more recent Sony camera, but all I can do is talk about what I've got. A little bit faster on the A6000, but I didn't notice too much of a difference. Continuous autofocus, which honestly wasn't amazing on my two cameras with this lens, especially in video, but I was also able to go into manual focus and then do singular focus in video, which worked out okay. And I did some B-roll for one of my videos with this lens and the A7S. In addition to that, using the clear image zoom on the A7S actually was a nice benefit for the camera and lens, so I could get different framing. Optically, you will get vignetting as well as detail in the corners won't be especially amazing. And you've got the fixed aperture, so it's not going to get any better. I wish I could focus closer on this lens, but it is serviceable. I had a good amount of pictures that were as close as possible, and I think those turned out nice. This lens does have extreme focus breathing because of how strongly the sides of the image change when it's focusing. In bright side lighting, obviously you're going to lose contrast, and this doesn't have any hood. There's no way to add filters to this lens. You're just going to have to deal with it and make it work based on your situation. Flare and sun stars, you will be able to get some legs to those sun stars, but they aren't super defined. Obviously at f4.5, it's not really possible like that. Flare, there are situations with strong side lights, it will lower contrast in the images. You will see some optical anomalies depending on how the light hits the lens. Background image quality, I think it can look really nice depending on how close you are to your subject and all that. At f4.5, especially on full frame, you will be able to get some interesting smooth backgrounds. Landscapes can work with this lens, but you will be dealing with the aperture and the vignetting. I think some of my photos turned out okay, where I was doing standard point and shoot style landscape-esque photos. On the A6000, it's improved obviously because it's using a portion of what's being projected from the lens. Minimum focus is decent on this lens, but not ideal, at least for my personal preferences. However, I was able to get some nice close-up stuff. Really depends on what you're looking for. The photography experience for both cameras was very pleasant. This type of lens excites me because you can tell there is a lot of really interesting design going into it. Obviously, it's extremely thin. They kept autofocus in the lens. They have the built-in cover for it, which is a cool little feature. Still has the USB connectivity for firmware updates. Very interesting combination of features based on their design. Let's look at the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 lens for the E-mount system. Scout Photography Bonds, thanks.